Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing Along the Beltway Podcast Network. And we can hear the Boxing Along the Beltway Podcast Network on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, on TuneIn, and on Stitcher.com, as well as on YouTube. And if you follow me on Twitter at Digital25, you can hear it there as well. We go to all those podcast situations there and the podcast networks there, and you can hear the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network on those networks as well. And I tell you, this week, this is one of the more loaded podcasts of news and notes that we've had in a little bit of time, because we have so much going on and so much that's about to take place in the next 2 months that is just, it's to the point where I normally don't give out the May schedule until or I should say 1 month schedule until the previous month is just about over. I can't afford to do that this week because April, as loaded as it is with both amateur and pro, the May schedule is going to be unbelievable, especially within the Beltway. So there's so much going on that we just have to get it all out this week, and we just continue to update it as we go on through the rest of the months going forward. So we have the awesome April of Beltway boxing going on right now, and then in May it's the magnificent May along the Beltway. So buckle up, because it's going to be very, very busy in the next few weeks. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network is brought to you as always by Real-Time Pain Relief, from boxers to ballerinas. For shoulder pain and muscle strain, everything between boxing along the Beltway, recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. She has great weight loss tips. You can do it without dieting, eating real food along the way. Also has a great jewelry on her site at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Before we get into the updates for April and May, we got some big events that have taken place last few days. First of all, earlier this week, at the Pan American Games qualifier in Managua, Nicaragua, 2 Alexander, Virginia amateur boxers did outstanding work. They have both qualified for the upcoming Pan American Games, which will take place in the summer. And they did well at the qualifier in Managua, Nicaragua. We're talking about Alexander, Virginia boxers Troy Isley and Keyshawn Davis. They put on solid performances, and they both earned medals. Isley, he put on a magnificent show in the championship. Now, Isley, every now and again, has difficulty at the bright lights and in the big events, but this time, not any difficulty. He defeated Arlen Lopez of Cuba by a 3-2 decision in the middleweight division. Now, this is not just any victory for Isley. Isley beat a guy, Arlen Lopez, who won a gold medal at the 2015 Pan Am Games, and he was a gold medalist at the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Rio. So he beat somebody huge in this situation. So congratulations to Troy Isley, who won the middleweight division at the Pan Am qualifier. Keyshawn Davis lost a tough 3-2 decision to Andy Cruz of Cuba, who was a 2017 world champion. And that was in the light welterweight division. So Davis got a silver medal. And all Team USA won actually 10 medals, should say. They won 4 gold, 3 silver, and 3 bronze during this qualifier. So Team USA did an outstanding work in the qualifying. They should be ready to go once the Pan American Games kick off, which will be July 26th through August 11th in Lima, Peru. So congratulations once again to Troy Isley and Keyshawn Davis. Did outstanding work at the Pan Am Games qualifier. Now, if you listen to our live broadcast of the Washington Golden Glove Championships, we talked about this event. By the way, the Washington Golden Glove Championships were outstanding. It's going to be a lot of fun going the rest of the way. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But we also talked about the fact that on the previous night, Friday, April 5th, Baltimore super featherweight Jamal Dyer lost an 8-round unanimous decision to undefeated Andres Savage Cortez of Las Vegas at the Sam's Town Hotel and Gambling Hall in Las Vegas. It was a Showbox telecast on Showtime. Dyer, and both Juan Marsh and I said this, Dyer fought very well overall. and he was able to trade and land shots with Cortez, who is a prospect of Mayweather Promotions. Dyer was rocked in the solid right hand late in the third round. That wobbled him a little bit. He was able to survive that round, but he came back, knocked down Cortez with a nice counter right hand in the fourth round. But Cortez regrouped in the second half. He outpunched Dyer the rest of the way. He went on to the victory. Dyer did not fight badly in this bout at all. He fought very, very well overall. I just think Cortez picked up the pace in the latter stages of the bout and just outgunned Dyer the rest of the way. Cortez won by scores of 78-73, 79-73, 78-74. Dyer is now 9-2, 5 KOs, and he's bounced back. After those losses, he's bounced back and become a little stronger. So we'll see what happens this time around. While Cortez is still undefeated, he's 11-0, 6 KOs. So Dyer, again, did not fight badly at all. He will not be hurt by this particular situation. He'll be able to bounce back and see what he can do down the road. Now we start talking more about the Awesome April Beltway Boxing, which continues as we record this tonight, Friday, April 13th. Correction, I'm sorry, tomorrow night, Saturday, April 13th, Saturday, April 13th, when Slick Nick Kisner out of Baltimore, Maryland, he'll take on undefeated Otto Wallin of Sundsvall, Sweden, on the Christina Hammer and Clarissa Shields bout for the undisputed female middleweight championship. That'll be at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and the bout is scheduled to be televised on Showtime. The time of the telecast is 9:10 Eastern Time. Kisner is 21-4-1, 6 KOs. This is a heavyweight bout. It's the first time he's competed as a heavyweight, I believe. And Wallin is 20-0, 13 KOs, who has not fought in the United States before. This was his first bout there. Kisner last fought, as we talked about earlier, fought on July 28th. He won a 10-round majority decision win over Scott Cujo Sigmund in Columbus, Ohio. Wallin is the EBU, European Union, and WBA Continental Heavyweight Champion. He comes off a 12-round unanimous decision over Adrian Granat on April 21st in his hometown of Sundsvall. Now, I don't think this bout is for any title. We have not heard either way, so we'll find out for certain Saturday night. But again, the telecast begins and I believe Kisner will be the first bout on the telecast. It begins on Showtime at 9:10 Eastern Time from Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Nick Kisner taking on Otto Wallin. Should be interesting to see what happens. Now, we talked about the Golden Gloves, and I hope we had a chance to listen to Juan Marshall and my call of the Washington Golden Gloves. Had a lot of fun there. This weekend, the Virginia, North Carolina Golden Gloves will be at Rosecroft Raceway. This is the first time it's ever happened there. Starts tonight as we record this, Friday, April 12th, and that'll be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The finals will be Saturday at April 13th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, I don't know if I'll be there attending it this time. Mainly because the rest of the month and then going into May will be so busy. This will be maybe my only night off from the boxing situation. So I may take advantage of that and unfortunately just not show up for that particular event. Now, don't forget the regional Golden Glove Championships will be on Saturday, April 27th, also at Rosecroft Raceway. The winners of the DC, Maryland, Delaware, and again, you can follow that on boxonbeltway.blogspot.com. And they'll take on the winners from Virginia and North Carolina on that situation. Of course, April 27th is a huge day because there are 3 events, as we've talked about before. You got the Regional Golden Gloves at Rosecroft Raceway. I'll be at the Belfast Beltway Classic at the Wardman Hotel in Washington, D.C., and there'll also be a pro card. We'll talk more about that in just a moment on Saturday, April 27th at Tyson's Playground in Vienna, Virginia. We'll talk more about that as well. So that's coming up this week. Now, 1 week from Saturday, there'll be a pro show at Rosecroft Raceway on Saturday, April 20th. And that'll be the KBW Promotions card, their maiden voyage into promotion at Rosecroft Raceway. Now, we have a number of changes and additions to that card. We're going to talk about that at this moment. Of course, Dusty Hernandez Harrison will be on the show. We talk about that. He's fighting as a middleweight. And I said last week that they wanted to get him down to the middleweight level. They actually really want to get him down to super welterweight, 154 pounds. So we'll see if that gets there. But he has a new opponent for the card. And his opponent now, the opponent that we had mentioned a couple weeks ago, that's no longer the case. He's now going to take on Fred Jenkins Jr. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and about his schedule for 8 rounds. As we said, Harrison, 31-0-1, 17 KOs. As you know by now, he returned to action after 2+ years of inactivity. Scored a first-round knockout over Bruce Rumboltz. That was on March 30th in New Albany, Indiana. Jenkins is 10-5, 3 KOs. He returns to action for the first time since September of 2017. He lost 6-round unanimous decision to Isaiah Wise in Philadelphia. So that's the main event. Dustin Hernandez Harrison taking on Fred Jenkins Jr. Now, Hagerstown, Maryland super middleweight, the sexy Albanian Yank Plana. He has a new opponent for his 4-round encounter. Plana, who's 3-0, 1 KOs. He'll take on Jonathan Morgan of Northern Shores, Michigan. And that bout is, again, 4 rounds. Plana last fought on January 26th. He won a 6-round unanimous decision over Ashton Sykes in Waldorf, Maryland. Morgan lost his pro debut by 3rd-round stoppage to Cedric Wyckoff. That was on October 26th in Detroit, Michigan. So that bout is part of the card. And the bout that featured Justin Sykes, who's scheduled to take on Javon John. Well, apparently Justin Sykes is now off that card. So Javon John out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, is looking for an opponent for that card coming up on April 20th. Now, a couple bouts have been added to the card, and a couple interesting bouts. One of them definitely is an interesting bout. Frederick, Maryland light heavyweight Larry Hitman Pryor. He'll be on the card against one of the true wily veterans of the fight game in the country, I should say. His name, Greg Hotshot Hackett of Philadelphia. That bout is scheduled for 4 rounds. Pryor is 10-9, 5 KOs. He's not fought since February 2018 when he lost 6-round unanimous decision to Alvin Vermal Jr. That was in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, Hackett is 2-18-1. He last fought on September 22nd and dropped a 4-round unanimous decision to Philip Stankovic in Springfield, Virginia. This is the 7th straight bout that Hackett has fought within the Beltway. He has been here a number of times over the last few years, especially he's fought the likes. Now, one of the bouts that he had that, quite frankly, he should be thanked in many ways for this boxer getting to where he is now, and that's Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd fought Greg Hackett way back in 2013 or 2014 at the Showplace Arena in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and Hackett made Hurd look very, very awkward. And Hurd survived it, won the bout by unanimous decision. He thought he looked awkward, and that, truth be told, is the last bout that I have seen Jarrett Hurd look, for lack of a better term, subpar. Even the win over Chris Cheatham, when a lot of people thought he lost that bout. Truth be told, I thought he won it, and he didn't look nearly as bad against Cheatham as he did against Greg Hackett. Cheatham bout was over at Rosecroft, by the way. But against Hackett, he just couldn't really get anything going, and that's really the last subpar bout that Hurd has had. And he's been great gun pretty much ever since. So, again, Greg Hackett should be thanked by Jarrett Hurd for getting to where he is right now. And also, Lontes Fox fought Greg Hackett, and I think Fox did a much better job against Hackett than Hurd did. So that's interesting there. So that's a 4-round bout. Larry Hitman Pryor taking on Greg Hotshot Hackett. That'll be on the April 20th card at Rosecroft Raceway. Also, Silver Spring, Maryland heavyweight George Harris. He returns to action in a 4-round bout against Lamarco Ellis of Wilson, North Carolina. Harris is 2-0, 2 KOs, scored a 3rd-round TKO over Lamar Lewis on December 1st at the Entertainment Sports Arena in D.C. Ellis is 2-5, 1 KO, won his first 2 bouts. He's now lost 5 in a row. That includes a July 28th loss to Stanley Wright by 4-round unanimous decision. So those are the updates for the April 20th card. Don't forget, you can still buy tickets through a link on boxonthebeltway.blogspot.com. You go to my other boxing link section, you'll see a link that says buying April 20th Rumble at Rosecroft tickets. Go to that link and you can buy tickets for this event coming up on Saturday, April 20th at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. And that's, again, the big place in April for Beltway boxing, both on the amateur and on the pro side. Now, as we move on in the month of April, Mike Yes Indeed Reed, the welterweight out of Waldorf, Maryland, he's going to be involved in the contest on Thursday, April 25th from Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. We talked about his possible opponent last week on the show, on the podcast, but apparently that opponent was not approved by the California State Athletic Commission. So Reed's going to need a new opponent. We don't know who it is yet. New opponent for this card on Thursday, April 25th from Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. So we should wish him well on that one. Also coming up on Friday, April 26th, Malik Iceman Hawkins will be on the card. He's returning to the Met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for an 8-round main event bout against veteran Fabian Laimo of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, on that card. Hawkins is 14-0, 9 KOs. He won an 8-round unanimous decision over Gledwin Ortiz at the Met back on February 23rd. And this will be Hawkins' third straight trip to the city of brotherly love. Hawkins won a 10-round unanimous decision over Raymond Serrano. That was for the vacant NABA USA Welterweight Championship at the Fillmore in Philadelphia in February of 2018. Laimo, 23-9-2, 15 KOs, only fought twice in the United States, and those came in his last 2 bouts. Back on March 30th, Laimo lost an 8-round unanimous decision to Ismael Garcia at the Powell Center in Hockinson, Delaware. And that was Laimo's first bout in almost 2 years. Now, Laimo made his U.S. debut in the Beltway at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia in October 2017. He was knocked out in the first round by Zot Durrani Jr. So that's a big bout. And if you listen to the podcast of the Washington Golden Glove Championship, you know that Malik Warren, who won his bout and was scheduled to advance to the regional Golden Glove Championships, will not. He has been pulled out. He will make his pro debut, and he'll make his pro debut on that same card that Malik Hawkins is going to be on at the Met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He just got his professional boxing license this week. Both his trainers, Kenny Ellis and Calvin Ford, put some information out about that. And that is going to be his pro debut Friday, April 26th from the Met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He'll be in that same card that Malik Hawkins is on Friday, April 26th. We move now to Saturday, April 27th at the Tyson's Playground in Vienna, Virginia. That's the TAC Promotions card there. This will be their 5th boxing event, their 4th in Virginia. Number of Beltway boxers scheduled on the card. No opponents yet. But Rashad Kilpatrick scheduled on the card. Marlon the Machine Bowen, Cornell Hitman Hines, Francisco the Cisco Kid Bustos, Chester Stewart, Abrima Jawara scheduled on that card, as well as a young lady who's actually out of Puerto Rico. Her name is Stephanie Pinedo Aquino. And she, I believe, represented Puerto Rico in the amateurs, and she is scheduled to be on that card. So that is Saturday, April 27th at Tyson's Playground, Vienna, Virginia. Fight Night 4, they're calling it. That's a TAC Promotions card. And, of course, again, one of 3 big events coming up on Saturday, April 27th, along with the Regional Golden Gloves at Rosecroft Raceway and the Belfast Beltway Classic at the Wardman Hotel in Washington, D.C. Now, normally, I would probably stop the podcast at this point. But May is becoming such a huge month already. First of all, we have 4 cards within the Beltway in the month of May. Every Saturday this month, in May, we have a card. We have 1 in Maryland, 1 in Virginia. No, 2 in Maryland, actually. 2 in Maryland, 1 in Virginia, 1 in D.C. Okay, the Maryland cards actually bookend the month. Not to mention the fact that Lamont Roach Jr. will be going to be in a card on May 4th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. He'll be on the undercard of actually one of the feature bouts on the card that features Canelo Alvarez taking on Danny Jacobs. Roach, we talked about this a while back, but it's true now. Roach Jr. will take on Jonathan Povo Oquendo of Vega Alta, Puerto Rico. And the bout will be a feature contest on the Canelo Alvarez Danny Jacobs card. It will be shown on DAZN. Now, from what I hear, there's a lot riding on this contest. First of all, the bout is going to be held for Roach's WBO International Super Featherweight Championship and also for the vacant NABO Super Featherweight title. And reportedly, this report is saying this will also be a WBO eliminator bout as both men are ranked within the top 5 by the WBO. Roach is ranked 2nd. Oquendo is ranked 5th. Roach is 18-0-1, 7 KOs, coming off a 10-round unanimous decision win over Alberto Mercado. That was on December 5th at Madison Square Garden. This is the first defense of that WBO international title. Oquendo is 30-5, 15 KOs, a former world title challenger who lost a bid for the WBA featherweight title to Jesus Cuellar. That was by unanimous decision in December of 2015. Cuellar would later lose that title to Gervonta Davis. Now, since that loss, Oquendo has won 4 straight bouts, including an 8-round unanimous decision over David Julio Basa. That was on December 8th in Toja Baja, Puerto Rico. Roach won his WBO international title with a 6-round stoppage win over that same boxer, David Julio Basa, on July 20th in Cancun, Mexico. So that's a big thing coming up. That's on Saturday, May 4th on the undercard. Actually, I guess the whole card will be shown on DAZN. I'm not sure how DAZN works. But that'll be shown on DAZN on Saturday, May the 4th. Now let's talk about the cards that we have all on the Beltway. Every Saturday in the month of May, we have a card. And it kicks off on Saturday, May 4th at the Waldorf Cultural Center in Waldorf, Maryland. This is a Sign Nation sports card. And actually, yours truly will be the ring announcer for this card. So I'm actually having 3 straight cards while I'm doing ring announcing. The April 20th show at Rosecroft, the Belfast Beltway Classic, and now the Waldorf Cultural Center in Waldorf, Maryland. Now, not a whole lot has been talked about this card. Not a whole lot of matches have been made for this card yet. The main event looks like it's going to be a 6-round bout between Filip Stankovic. He's a young man out of Serbia now fighting in Virginia. He'll take on Gregory Glizzy Clark of D.C. And that bout's scheduled for 6 rounds. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Also scheduled to be on the card. The other bout that's already matched up. Nathaniel the Juggernaut Copeland out of Washington, D.C. He's the heavyweight. He's 1-0-1 KO, battling Willie Harvey of New Jersey. He's 3-2-1. Also scheduled to be on this card, Mac Allison the 4th, Destiny Day Owens, Nigel Fennell, Jerry Slug Forrest, and Michelle Nogue. Now, Day Owens and Nogue fought each other on a card recently. Owens won her pro debut against Nogue, so now they're fighting in separate bouts on Saturday, May the 4th. So we'll see what happens as we go on. Now, we come to Saturday, May 11th at the Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia, on the campus of George Mason University. That's the Premier Boxing Champions card, TGB Promotions card. That'll take place on Saturday, May 11th. The main event, of course, is Swift Jared Hurd coming home, defending his 154-pound world championships against number 1 contender Julian J. Rock Williams. Now, I think PBC is going to do a face-to-face on this very soon. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But there are a number, and I mean right now the number is 10 Beltway boxers scheduled to be on this card Saturday, May 11th. And they're doing something weird with the television. We'll talk more about that a little bit, but this is Saturday, May 11th. Now listen to the lineup for this card. Undefeated Bethesda Maryland Super Featherweight Alexander Spartan Marine, will be in his first 12-round contest. He'll take on former world champion Luis Nica Concepcion of Panama City, Panama. Now, this bout is scheduled to be an IBO elimination contest and may have some bearing on the IBF as well. But definitely, the winner of this one's supposed to get a shot at the International Boxing Organization Super Featherweight title. Marine is 17, Super Flyweight title. Marine is 17-0, 11 KOs. He's the defending IBO Intercontinental Super Flyweight champion. He's ranked 3rd in the world by the IBF. Now, in his last outing, Marine won the IBO Intercontinental title with a tough 10-round split decision over Bruno Escalante. That was on September 8th. That was on that Super Flyweight show, Super Flyweight 3 or something they called it, show at the Forum in Inglewood, California. It led the streaming version of that card. That was a tough bout for Marine. Marine got cut midway through, but managed to hang on and win the bout. So we'll see what happens. Concepcion is a former WBA, super flyweight title holder. He's looking to bounce back from a 10-round unanimous decision loss to Andrew Maloney. That was on September 8th in Bendigo, Australia. Concepcion won the WBA version of the super flyweight title in August of 2016. He defeated Kohei Kono by 12-round unanimous decision in Japan. And I think he's also challenged for the WBC title as well. He lost that challenge, though. So that's a big bout there. Alexander Marine taking on Luis Concepcion. Glenard, Maryland lightweight Devontae Speed Rawls. He'll be in his first 8th round. He battles veteran Jonathan Popeye Perez of Barranquilla, Colombia. Speed Rawls 11-1-1, 8 KOs. Comes off a nice 3rd-round performance. TKO win over Dante Cox. That was on March 8th. That was on the Jetta Promotions card at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. Perez is a veteran, 38-23 with 30 KOs. He broke a 5-bout losing streak with a 3rd-round stoppage of Euclides Carcamo. That was on January 18th in Monterio, Colombia. It should be noted that Carcamo only had 4 bouts to his credit, as opposed to the number of bouts that Perez has in his career. There'll be an all-Maryland super welterweight contest as Mark Sales Duncan of Clarksburg takes on Baltimore's Kevin the Scarecrow Womack Jr. Bout is scheduled for 6 rounds. Duncan is 3-1, 3 KOs. He's going to look to bounce back, suffering his first pro loss, a 6-round split decision to Arturo Izquierdo. That was on March 24th at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. That was on the Lamont Peterson card. Lamont Peterson and Sergey Lipinets card. Mark Duncan really looked good overall in that bout. He got knocked down early, and that kind of sealed his fate. But I thought he fought pretty well overall. So that's, he looks to bounce back in this situation. He may have a tough time against Womack Jr., 8-17-4, 6 KOs. He'll be trying to break a 3-bout losing streak. In his last outing, Womack Jr. lost by 4th-round TKO to Zav Beknishinbayev. That was on August 18th at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland. That was on the card that was the Beltway Boxing card of the year last year. Womack Jr. will be facing a fellow Beltway boxer for the 3rd straight time. He also lost really a tough 4-round majority decision that some people thought he won against Kareem Martin back on June of 2018. That was at the Sphinx Club in Washington, D.C. And a lot of people thought that that Womack may have gotten the win on that one. So we'll see what happens. So again, if the right Kevin Womack Jr. shows up, that could be a very interesting bout. Mark Sales Duncan taking on Kevin the Scarecrow Womack Jr. in a 6-round bout. Also, Baltimore super welterweight Aaron Anderson will be in a 4-round contest against Carlos Galindo of Woburn, Massachusetts, by way of Lima, Peru. Anderson is 4-0, 3 KOs. He looks to build on a 4-round unanimous decision win over Chuka Willis. That was on March 2nd in Brooklyn, New York. Galindo is 1-9, lost by 3rd-round TKO to Joe Farina on March 29th in Melrose, Massachusetts. So that's about there. Aaron Anderson against Carlos Galindo. Now, other local boxers scheduled to be on this card include the Laurel Maryland Super Middleweight and WBC and USNBC, and now the Maryland State Super Middleweight champion, Damon the Best at Nicholson. He's 21-3-1, 20 KOs. Bowie Maryland Super Lightweight Greg Sharpshooter Outlaw, 7-0, 2 KOs. And Baltimore Middleweight Lorenzo Truck Simpson, who's 3-0, 2 KOs. And also on this card, the chosen one, Emmanuel Alim, out of Richmond, Virginia. He'll take on Matt Korobov of St. Petersburg, Florida, in a 10-round bout. So that's 10 Beltway boxers scheduled to be on this card on Saturday, May 11th from the Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia. We'll talk more about that as well as we go along. Then on Saturday, May 18th, there'll be a Tricky Entertainment promotions card, that'll take place at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. Now, 8 Beltway boxers scheduled to be on this card, and the card will also scheduled to feature 2 regional titles. No opponents yet, but here are the boxers scheduled to be on this card on Saturday, May 18th. Headlining the card, Largo, Maryland Super Middleweight, former world title challenger Dominic Lights Out Wade. He'll compete in the bout for the WBC and IBO Regional Super Middleweight Championships. Wade is 20-1, 14 KOs, has fought twice since his 2016 loss to Gennady Golovkin, scored knockouts in both contests. In his last outing, Wade scored a 5th-round TKO over Josue Obando. That was on February 23rd in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's the big main event. Dominic Lights Out Wade in the big main event. Co-feature, DC Super Featherweight, the Dark Menace, Tierra Brown, she'll participate in an IBF regional title bout. Brown is 7-0, 5 KOs, comes off a fourth-round stoppage of former world champion Dahana Santana. That was on December 8th at Bowie State University, the AC Jordan Arena. Now, Brown works as a police officer in D.C. You know that by now, but you may not know, and I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but you may not know that she was recently named the Washington, D.C. Police Officer of the Year. She does some great community work, and she's just a wonderful person, and she is the Police Officer of the Year in Washington, D.C. So that is tremendous. She's balancing herself very well. We talked about how she is had made that balance and made that balance happen for her. So congratulations to Tierra Brown, and look forward to seeing her on this card at the Entertainment Sports Arena. Also slated to be on this card, DC Super Lightweight, Antonio Teflon Magruder. He's 5-0 and 4 KOs out of DC. Greenbelt Maryland Cruiserweight, the Vanilla Gorilla, Sam Crossett, 8-0, 5 KOs. Right now, DC welterweight David Day Grayton is on this card, 15-3-1, 11 KOs. We say right now, and actually he was scheduled to be on the card April 20th, and he's not on that card. And quite frankly, one of the reasons why he's not on that card is because of the situation that has come out over the last couple of days on the internet, where he and Shakur Stevenson were involved in a confrontation with some men and women in I think it was in Florida, and Shakur Stevenson was celebrating his birthday, and they've gotten into an altercation. Now this happened last year, from what I've been told. So no word whether or not they're going to face any charges. You know, Shakur Stevenson has a bout coming up this coming week, so I don't know whether or not they're going to make face any charges. But that's one of the reasons why he's not on that card in Rosecroft next week. But he is going to be scheduled to be on this card on May 18th. He's scheduled to be on that card. Highest for Maryland Super Lightweight Patrick YG Pat Harris is on this card. He's 15-0, 8 KOs, really fighting well as of late. And DC Featherweight Jordan Short Dog White will be on the card, 7-1, 6 KOs. And also debuting DC Lightweight Torian, the Untouchable Tip Venable. I don't know a lot about him, so we're looking forward to seeing him on this card. That's Saturday, May 18th from the Entertainment Sports Arena in Southwest Washington, D.C. Southeast Washington, D.C. So look forward to seeing that as well. Then on Saturday, May 25th, there's a card that's just been announced this week, and it'll be at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Now, this will be an interesting situation for a number of reasons. The main event on the card is the heavyweight debut of a guy that was truly one of the best pound-for-pound boxers in the world. His name is Alexander Usyk, and he was a former cruiserweight champion, a guy that actually fought at the MGM National Harbor back in 2017, our first card at the MGM National Harbor, when he and the other two other members of the Ukrainian Dream Team came and fought on that card. Of course, one of the other ones was Vasily Lomachenko. And he wowed the crowd, had a great bout. Since that time, he's grown to great heights as a cruiserweight. He's one of the best cruiserweights in the world. Some people say the best cruiserweight in the world. So now he has moved up to the heavyweight division, and he'll take on Carlos Takam on that card. That's on Saturday, May 25th. Now, I say it's interesting for a number of reasons, because as of right now, and I've been in contact with the folks at Matchroom Boxing, who are the promoters for this card. Right now, there are no Beltway boxers scheduled for this card. Now, I haven't heard anything more about that, and actually the people at Matchroom Boxing have not gotten back to me concerning this situation. So, I don't know where we are in this as far as that. Quite frankly, however, two things. Now, normally I would be upset that we didn't have any Beltway boxers on the card. I promise you folks, I won't be. Here's why. Number one, the last time Ukrainian Dream Team were here, and we had boxers from Ukraine here, the place sold out within hours. MGM National Harbor Casino sold out within hours. It was a huge, huge Ukrainian crowd there. I don't know if a lot of them traveled from Ukraine. Members of the Ukrainian embassy were there, of course, but it was packed in that place, and they were cheering on the Ukrainian Dream Team. So that's one reason why I'm not going to be upset. So we're going to get, regardless of who's on the card, we're going to get a good crowd, it looks like. The second reason I'm not going to be as upset as I normally would be is because with all the things that are going on in our area over the next 6 weeks or so, we may not have anybody left. I mean, we've got 2 cards where we have a combined 18 Beltway boxers on the card in May. Added at the card on May 4th, which has another strong contingent of Beltway boxers. Right now we have 5 on that card. 6 on that card. That's 24 Beltway boxers being used in May. And of course, you add the number of Beltway boxers that are on the April 27th show with Kirkpatrick and Wallin and Hines and Bustos and Stewart and Jawara. And then you also have the show that's coming up next Saturday, April 20th, with the Dusty Hernandez Harrison and the boxers that are on that card. I mean, we're full. I mean, we are busy. And I don't know we have anybody left. There's word that Michael Fox will be fighting out of town on May 11th. You know, Mike Reed is scheduled to fight out of town. Lamont Rose Jr. is scheduled to fight out of town. Demetrius Ballard just fought. There's so many boxers that are Malik Hawkins is fighting out of town. The debuting Malik Warren's fighting out of town. So there's so many boxers that have already been used in the last few weeks and going into the next few weeks. We may not have too many people left of any real significance to fight on this card coming up on May 25th. So this may not be a card that will attract the Beltway boxing fan, but if you're a boxing fan and if you want to see one of the best boxers, what people say one of the best boxers pound for pound in the world, you might want to be there on Saturday, May 25th at the MGM National Harbor Casino, Oxon Hill, Maryland, because Alexander Usyk is one of the best, no question about that. And to see him in person and see him in his heavyweight debut, that's significant, no question about that. So that is Saturday, May 25th at the MGM National Harbor Casino. So that's the awesome April Beltway boxing. That's the magnificent May along the Beltway. So folks, gear up. It's going to be a wild ride, some significant bouts, some great cards. It's going to be phenomenal. So make sure you stay with us each and every week right here on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Make sure you go on the blog, not only my blog, boxingonthebeltway.blogspot.com, but also my partner Juan Marshall's blog at proamfighttalk.blogspot.com. Excuse me. There'll be so much news coming down the pike in the next few weeks that it's going to be very hard to keep up with it, but both Juan and I will do our very best to do that. And we will definitely look for you at all these cards. Many of these cards you can come. Please support. This is the time. People ask me, where are the Beltway bouts? Where are the bouts? Where are the cards in the area? Well, here they are, folks. Here they are. We're in Virginia twice at April 27th and May 11th. We are in Maryland, a grand total of 4 times. We are at Rosecroft. We're in Waldorf. We're at MGM National Harbor 3 times. We're in D.C. for the Entertainment Sports Arena show on May 18th. And then we're in Virginia for April 27th and May 11th. So you cannot afford, if you're a Beltway boxing fan, you cannot afford to not be a part of what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So make sure you stay with us here on boxingonbeltway.blogspot.com. Make sure you stay with us each and every week on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. And we just have some great information and great results and great events coming up in the next few weeks. So I'll do it here for a very lengthy edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes, but we just had so much information we had to give it to you. Thank you for joining us. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network, brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Real Time Pain Relief, rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. Also by DeborahSpears.com, great weight loss tips, great jewelry, Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Don't forget to go on boxonbowie.blogspot.com, boxonbowie.blogspot.com, and go to the Best Buy and Amazon pages there and try to buy your purchases through those links there. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Reminding you, as always, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care. Oh, beautiful right hand by Darryl Cole.